Okay, going to do a test with silicon air again. I like retuning the system. It's I guess it's you know, strive, you know, to get that film soundtrack playback sort of similar to what I heard in the cinema, but then hey, I'm not in a large auditorium like the Empire Leicester Square, so anyway. But more or less using the same components. Same cinema processor, except for amplifiers and all that, which I have a little differences on the amplifiers I'm using for the HF ones, the Behringer EPQ 304. And when measuring the frequency response direct on the amplifier, it's got a bit of a roll off going, starting around about 2 kHz, and it kind of rolls downward. I think, I'm not sure if it's 10 dB or something, and that's a little bit, you know, you kind of want it flat sort of thing, don't you? I may change those amplifiers and sell them, and you know, so it's a little bit more flat. It's like all amplifiers are saying so I probably want something, you know, maybe thinking about, but I can compensate. I can compensate for this, you know, but it takes a bit of working it out and being careful doing it, because you don't want to do any damage to the system. So at the moment, frequency response is kind of like that, and I'm going to do a test instead with the silicon here. So I've got to wait for it to settle down, because the mic gain's pretty high on the anyway. If I put the silicon air in position, no, it's the elevation. I'll take it away. How I'm doing it. Get the camera in position. Flip that part over. So I'm just placing. So silicon air's got a little cut in it. And I'm just kind of to mimic. Maybe like when I'm looking down the ear canal, there's everything except the ear membrane that's not there, because the membrane is kind of like the microphone, even though it's not like a membrane. It's totally different, but I just place it over like so, like that, and I can put it back and then rotate the ear position. Back in position. What I'm doing there is having the ear on there, and I'm gradually turning it around, like how we would, and how we notice the highest frequency sound. I'll just mute that. How we notice the highest frequency sound. And where it starts to kind of like roll off a little bit. Now if I play it again and do it myself, and I'll kind of just put my finger over one side, so I'm not using two. Yeah, there, it more focused in that position, and then turn. I can still hear all the other tone frequency except for the high part elevation on the, even though it's still there sort of thing. And then it gets a bit more focused as coming round. So I'm using the just mute that pink noise. So I'm just using the silicon air to sort of like kind of maybe make a few dB attenuation, so it wouldn't sound too harsh. Of course, I've got to repeat the same action for all the surround speakers in this room. Yeah, that can take a few more days doing this. Yeah, but very interesting. You know, the shape, even though it's not the shape of my ear. My ear is a slightly different shape, but as a rule of thumb, yeah, because you read it all up, you can Google it, and it would say the frequency range is somewhere between 3 and 4 kilohertz. I was noticing it on this one. It was kind of elevating, I think, above, just slightly above 5k, or it might start, and then reaches a peak, and then rolls off, and then smoothens out down again. May explain also phenomena why, when you're listening to a movie soundtrack, or because they got nice fundamental frequencies, sound effects sometimes, sound music and such, sibilance on dialogue. You might think, oh gosh, that's a bit too harsh, and then maybe have a look and see what else needs tuning, with a little frequency cut applied equally on each HF channel and surround or whatever. It's not going to really show much on the low frequency, because when you move it, orientate it around it, it just stays the same. More or less with all the other frequencies that I could still hear, they're more or less consistently staying the same, except until when I was getting round to a point where it that frequency, because our ear is a resonant, it has a resonant frequency, peak sort of resonant frequency. I guess it can be modified or adjusted slightly with something, wearing something, to kind of, but then it's like, if I were to tune my HF horns, or if you tune your tweeters, and then purposely just put a very sharp, a very narrow Q bandwidth, a frequency, a parametric EQ frequency, say maybe 2 kilohertz, and then literally cut by 15, 20, 30 dB, it's going to have this weird sound. It's going to kind of like a hollow sort of sound, like the sound is all here and it's all getting sucked down, or some part of the frequency is getting it'd have a kind of unnatural sort of sound. But then there are places like you can go to, like tunnels and such, and they got this kind of, and it's like very disconcerting sound. Anyway, so yeah, very ideal to have one of these little things, because when you're doing your tuning and your EQing and all that, very ideal to have one of these. Often I sometimes forget, and I'm doing it and I forget, to use the silicone ear to check. Anyway, there it is. Maybe have a brief view of my cat Bear. He's snoozing. Magic's sleeping on the back row. There we go.